Just think how many people you know who have gone on to get a master's degree or a PhD because they can't get a job with just an undergraduate degree in psychology, for example. So I know I'm a little bit late to the discussion, but since the midterms, which happened back in November, there's been a lot of talk around Biden's student loan forgiveness plan. Now, if you don't know what it entails, nobody really does. A lot of it is still in the works, and it's probably not going to get approved by the Supreme Court, which is where it's at right now. But basically, Biden promised to forgive a certain amount of student loan debt for most borrowers. Now, obviously, this has sparked a lot of discussion around the cost of college and whether or not it should be cheaper or free. So today I wanted to take the opportunity to share my opinion and why I think that college should not be free. Now, quick disclaimer, I really empathize with people who want student loan forgiveness and who want free college because our generation really has gotten screwed over financially in so many ways. We probably won't ever out-earn our parents. We definitely won't own houses. Our savings are being inflated away at a faster rate than the interest rate. So I completely understand why people are frustrated and want that financial burden lifted off of them. I'm not arguing that it's fair or that it's a good situation. I just wanted to talk through some of the implications of free college. The first problem with having free college is that value is derived from exclusivity. And what I mean by this is that one of the motivators behind having free college is trying to improve enrollment and graduation rates and basically make it so that more people can have a college degree. Now, the problem with this is that at one point in time, a college degree helped differentiate you from the workforce competition. If your peers only had a high school degree, but you went the extra mile and put in the time and money to get a college degree, you were perceived as more qualified and more serious for the job. However, by making college free, everybody would take that second step and go to college, and therefore they would not be differentiated any more so than they are from everybody having a high school degree. Employers already don't value a high school degree because most people have it. If everybody goes to college, then it's going to be that much more difficult to stand out from the competition. In fact, we already see this happening because 70% of high school graduates go on to get a bachelor's degree. Just think how many people you know who have gone on to get a master's degree or a PhD because they can't get a job with just an undergraduate degree in psychology, for example. Not to mention that I'm not even sure that making college free would improve enrollment rates that much to begin with. Like I said, 70% of high school graduates already go on to go to college, which is by far the majority of people. And this is with the already exorbitant cost of college. People are so comfortable taking out student loans, refinancing their mortgages in order to go to college. If costs were such an inhibitor to these people, then over time, as college tuition increased, which it totally has been since the 1970s, we should see a decline in enrollment rates. But we haven't, which indicates that cost clearly isn't inhibiting anybody who wants to go to college from going. Well, I guess I shouldn't say it's not inhibiting anybody. I, for example, didn't go to college because I couldn't afford it, and I imagine that there are a lot of people in a similar situation to me. But I'm also not convinced that people like me comprise the majority of that leftover 30% of people who don't go on to get a college degree. There are a lot of reasons why somebody might not want to go to college. It might not be part of their value system. They might have a temperament that's better suited to the military or the trades or something that doesn't involve higher education, or it just might not be something that they want in life. Which kind of brings me to my next point about the scarcity of college. Why do we even think it's a good thing to force everybody down that path? College is essentially an assembly line. It forces people to take the same kind of general courses and to learn by brute memorization and to take tests well, when in reality there are so many careers after you graduate from college that are completely tangential to the college curriculum and involve skills that might not even be taught in a college environment. Just because you or I value college doesn't mean that it's the default good thing for everybody. And it's pretty self-centered to impose my value system on everybody. Moving away from the concept of scarcity and onto my next reason why college shouldn't be free, and that has to do with money and the economy. Higher education is a $582 billion-dollar industry. There are all kinds of costs that go towards a college education, things like paying professors, funding research, paying student medical bills, etc., etc. Currently, these expenses are being funded by student loans and by tuition. But if we were to make college free and remove those sources of revenue, colleges would still have to pay for those expenses somehow. And obviously that missing revenue would come out of taxes. If you look at other European countries who have free education, their cost of living is so much higher than ours, and usually their income tax is much higher than America's also. So it's not that crazy to assume that Americans would see a spike in taxation in cost of living also. I did the loose calculations, and basically, given the fact that the higher education industry is a $582 billion industry, I compared it to other kind of public sectors of a similar size, which turned out to be public defense and Medicare. And we already pay a certain income tax for those public goods, and by kind of working backwards, I was able to loosely predict how much taxation would have to increase in order to compensate for a third category of spending of that size. And I think that Americans would see an increase in taxes by about 8%. For some of you, that might not really mean anything, but currently in 2023, the inflation rate is only 6%. And we already feel it in things like increased prices of eggs. So an increase in taxes by 8% would absolutely eat into your disposable income. Instead of paying $300 a month towards paying off your student loans, we'd be paying $300 a month in just taxes. The other thing is that I don't believe that it's fair to distribute the burden from people who went and got a college degree and signed up for the student loans to everybody, regardless of how expensive their tuition was, whether or not they paid it off themselves, and whether or not they even went to college. I, for one, had to make the incredibly difficult decision not to go to college at all, and I would be pretty pissed if all of a sudden my taxes went up to pay for everybody else's college, even though I made the decision not to go. And I suffered the consequences. Those consequences look very different if you do take on the debt and you go to college, but all actions have consequences. And although I do have a lot of empathy for people who have massive crippling student loans, I don't think the solution is to just do away with the responsibility and the consequences. But it does speak to the current system of acquiring a student loan. Just about anybody can get a $100,000 student loan, no questions asked. The other thing that's ridiculous is the fact that a college degree doesn't even guarantee a good job. People frame student loans as an investment in your future because, in theory, if you have a college degree, you'll make more money over the course of your lifetime than someone who doesn't. And while that might be true, it's definitely not the whole story. It depends on a lot of factors, like your major and how big your student loan debt is. Yes, somebody who takes out a small student loan to go and get an engineering degree can probably make more money over the course of their lifetime without having that student debt cripple them. But for somebody who's more like me, who would have to take hundreds of thousands of dollars out in student loans to fund their anthropology major or their psychology major or their gender studies major, they absolutely aren't guaranteed a job out of college, let alone a high-paying one that would be able to compensate for that exorbitant monthly cost of the student loan payment with interest. Not to mention that most entry-level jobs don't require skills that are taught in college. Instead, they require things like data analysis and customer support, which are examples of skills that colleges don't teach you, which are actually useful and practical for getting you a job later on. So without being too doom and gloom, what can we do about this? Honestly, I think it primarily falls on employers and older generations. First of all, older generations need to stop telling us that college is a one-size-fits-all secret to success. Maybe that was the case for them, but now college is so much more expensive for us, and everybody has a degree, so there's no competitive advantage to going to college. And a lot of majors are theoretical anyways. They're not offering skills or lessons that are going to be helpful in the workforce. The second thing that we need to do is employers need to stop requiring a bachelor's degree for entry-level jobs that are really just menial labor. I see so many entry-level job descriptions that require a degree and 2 years of experience for something like customer service, which really anybody with a good work ethic, drive, and empathy can do regardless of their education. And as far as paying off current student loans goes, I don't really have a solution to that. I know for a fact that pretending it never happened is not the solution, and I can think of a lot of solutions going forward, but if you have any thoughts as to how to help people who already have massive student loans, I'd love to hear them in the comments down below. And thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please check out some of my other ones. And as always, good luck out there.